This is a good one. I am blessed, humbled, and honored to have a really good friend, also a business person in this industry for a long, long time, a sports enthusiast as well, but just so happens to take his love of sports and flip it into love of entertainment. I have none other than Rashad Ali, who's the CEO and president of R&B Soul Effects TV, and it's a pleasure to have you on my show, my brother. Thank you for taking the time.
Oh man, appreciate it, man. It's an honor to be on here, man. This is cool because I get a chance to talk about sports besides music. Because me, it's been music, music, music. I get a chance to at least have a balance on this show.
No, listen, not a problem, not a problem. Listen, I know you grew up again, as you and I talked in the past, just being an avid sports fan. But tell me, take a little step back. The love of sports, how did that translate into helping you, in the love for music and becoming a CEO of your own company?
Yeah, make a long story short, when I was about like 7 years old, and growing up, football and basketball was football, basketball, and baseball was always in the house all the time, and they ran in the family. My uncles they played uh, college football and high school football, and I had one uncle play basketball. And what was so funny about that, just so happened I wanted to be a baseball player, and then I was good at that. I didn't really look at much as basketball, so I wanted to be like Bo Jackson. So that's what caught my attention, him and Deion Sanders. And I told my mom, I said, I want to, play baseball and football at the same time. And my mama said, we got to pick one. You ain't gonna do both and stuff. So I played for the school called Turtle Tigers, and we had like these ugly powder blue shirts. Oh man, the jersey we had back then, man, was horrible, man, and stuff. But I was infatuated, man, with football and baseball. And man, I tell you, if you would have maybe I was a kid, man, I had posters of all the college players and pros, man. And I stopped, playing baseball. I was about 9 years old. I started getting to football. So I was playing wide receiver. And they called me Spider Man because I had this thing when I would run, I always, if I see somebody coming at me, it's like I applied in my head, like I'm gonna jump fast before he even thinks I'm going to, he gonna get to me. So I had a thing where, man, like you throw that ball, man, dude, like you would never see me coming, man. I just get it right there unsuspectly, you
Wow.
know. Yeah, so they called me Spider Man because I was good at like knocking people down. So I
Gotcha.
always make sure my feet was planted up. So I always use my legs as power, and that's how I got through, man. So I played football, man, from 10 up until I was about like 18.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
The transition, which was interesting, you and I always talk about, I already know Louisville, the Cardinals, and everything of that nature. And we talked about, of course, we had some really good West Virginia and Louisville had some really good rivalries back, especially during my era at WVU. What made you transition from sports into the music entertainment industry?
Around that time, you know what? I don't know what was it was must have been something in the air. And the teachers that we had back then, man, didn't really give us like confidence and hope to want to, further our careers and stuff.
Right.
So around that time, my mother, man, me being like the only boy, she was scared that I might get physically injured. I was a real skinny guy back then. And, in football, it's a lot of knick-knack injuries. But in between all that, uh, my friend name was Shanika, and she was the one that told me about her uncle that was a promoter, KC Duncanson, God rest his soul. I was making, like flyers for our school and stuff like that. And what happened was Casey had a falling out with some guy. He promised he'll return some flyers in. It was for a concert show. It was for a matter of fact, New Edition was coming to town. So this
Mm.
is back in 1996 when New Edition dropped Home Again. So she said, "Well, I know this boy from school. He could hook you on some flyers and stuff." So, make a long story short, fast forward up, I showed him my work, and he said, "Hey, man, you know what? I would pay you $500 in cash because I know you're not 18. You can't cancel checks, so I'm gonna give you $500."
Wow.
Man, you give that to a 50-year-old dude, it's a wrap. As soon as I made the flyers for him, man, it was showtime. But see, back then, my mind wasn't on the business and stuff. I was more my mind for that time was focused on school, the education. I was loving sports, but something happened, man. In between that, as months rolled by, I started gravitating towards the music. So that's what
Mm.
made me. I started losing passion of sports. Nobody did put it in my head and just I don't know, it must have been my calling or something, but I just switched from there. And then after a while, everybody got mad because I decided to quit sports and stuff because I was
Right.
good at it between basketball and football. But I never forget, this is a true story. I forgot to tell you this. There was a guy, I don't know who I can't think of his name. He played for West Virginia. And he came in when he was giving advice to people and stuff like that. And I wouldn't say much try to recruit people to go to that school,
Right.
but he would do something that little Carlos didn't do. As far as like, want to further their careers and stuff. I do remember that conversation. But yeah,
Wow.
man, yeah, that was the I went for doing concert flyers. Next thing you know, man, I started connecting with people in the business and stuff. And I started becoming the go-to guy. So any open act that Casey needed, I got paid for that.
Wow. That's what's up.
Yeah.
The transition, which is so interesting in our industry, the entertainment industry, is such a dog eat dog business, as everybody knows. So when your success in this industry has been so well pronounced, what advice would you give individuals that's trying to crack into the entertainment industry?
Man. Oh, it's easy. Before you step in, make sure you learn all the ins and outs of this business. Because see, the problem with having population of today's generation, they're so focused on was like the fame and the red carpet and taking pictures with a bunch of celebrities and stuff. All that's cool, but we get out of it nothing. You
Right.
know, you will learn a lot from the behind the scenes, the groundwork. You would do all the same and stuff. So my advice is, keep it something small, and please don't never wear your heart on your sleeve because not everybody is business is your friend. They might be a small percentage of people that you can build with, but everybody is like this. And I done ran to a lot of macaroni people. So and yeah, my advice is stay true to you, but also too, one thing people gotta understand is always, if you're a businessman, businesswoman, always think business, you know,
Right.
because yeah, because people will talk slick to you. Because it's like, for example, I'm a businessman, but DJ, the podcast host, those are hobbies. I'm a businessman, so I take my job seriously.
Absolutely. The craziest thing over the years, getting to know you and getting to see the huge success that you have, it's the respect level that when artists come to you, they understand that and they respect it. Some of the biggest artists in the game who you've helped in this industry, they respect the fact of how hard you work, how diligent you are in your work, and how passionate you are. But here's the beautiful thing: how honest you are, because we're definitely in an industry that is a morally bankrupt industry. It's a tough industry to to navigate, but when you have someone like yourself with such honesty, it really does help, especially these new artists coming into this game. And that I think that's why your success has been so grandiose because of the passion that that you show, the knowledge of this business and the honesty. Where did you get that passion from?
You know what? I learned, there what I didn't learn that from school. it's funny you mentioned that. Casey, you know, he was like a mentor towards me. I mean, to me, I don't say towards. I mean, you know, for me, you know, coming up, and then you know, just watching people how they move and stuff. And and back then, you know, I used to get invited to a lot of these entrepreneur events and stuff like that back in the '90s, and watch how people conduct themselves and give people advice what they need to do, and that kind of program in my head to be like, wow, man, you know, like this is something that I didn't get in school. So as I got older, by the time by the time I was 32 years old, that's when it all was common sense. So my thing was like, you know, it's one thing of talking about, you know, okay, I love music, this and that. I want to educate people.
Right.
And my thing is to focus on the up and coming artists. And even though there are some that have been around longer that never had that type of knowledge of business, I don't have some people that have been around for 30 years. They just now figuring out the music business. It's crazy, man. So, and some people, they will take what I say the wrong way because we live in a sensitive world, but there's a difference of putting people down and also telling people this is how the game is. There's going to be roses, petals, and where you go at.
That's a good point of reference.
Yeah.
That's a good point of reference. What's the, I guess, one of the craziest things that's happened to you in this music industry that you take a look back at and say, wait a minute, did that really happen? And it could be something as simple. It could be something as simple as a repost from a famous artist, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because I know that has to trip you out because you've been in this business such a long time. So if you don't mind, could you share with my fans some of some of the quirkier things that's happened that made you say,
Oh man. I tell you, dude, you know, it's crazy because I know we have a blue check and just like celebrities share my stuff. Like, for example, man, I never forget when After Seven was the first uh, group to share my post. And what happened was, now keep in mind, I only had like 550 followers back in like the first half of 2017, like around this time. Man, next thing you know, here comes Jody Wiley. Here comes Jimmy Jerry Taylor Lewis. I went from 550 to like 3,000. Here comes 3,000. Then comes 10,000. Now that pays up to like 45,000 already as of April 2023. And it's crazy, man, because as time went on, man, when Janet Jackson shared my post, dude, on her IG story, man, I said, you know what? I made it. You know,
hmm.
it's one thing get from a legend, but somebody that's like icon royalty status, man, that's a whole different level.
Right, absolutely.
And man, then you know to have the Grammys share my post, that was the Grammys tag me, and it was just, dude. I was like on a high, man, for a couple of years. You
Absolutely.
know, then after a while, I kind of wind down a little bit, but man, I'm blessed, man. You know, now looking at, you know, and that's the thing too. Like, I never predict that was going to happen. It's just
Right.
that you know how it is when you know present your business and what you post. I always try to put down facts and make sure that you know always keep stuff professional.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So yeah.
it's funny that you segue into that because that goes back into what I was talking about earlier when, the advice that you would give to artists and even managers. Because a lot of artists, when you sit and talk to them, a lot of them are looking at this through a different lens. They don't understand unless you're plugged into a major, you get the other side of the marketing and all that kind of stuff. But you being the CEO and president of your own company as an independent, as we've been independents for 27 years, my wife and I with our label,
Yeah.
people don't really get everything you do as an indie. You really got to work your product.
Yep.
Because you're not plugged into a major situation, which we chose not to be. And I'm glad we did. So, what advice would you give a new owner coming into this landscape in the entertainment field, like you, like my wife and I? What advice would you give someone that wants to be into ownership as an independent versus a major?
Yeah. My advice is, don't worry about the numbers. That's what you don't want to do. Focus on stay consistent, learn how to, market your brand. It is good to ask questions, to the right people, especially, show you how to, okay, how should I present myself, my company. That's one thing that's missing. If you got a label, it's good to make a video of what you bring to the table and how far can you go, especially if you sign an artist. Because a lot of times if you bring an artist in, they expect like, oh man, like I'm gonna do like a 30 scene too. I'm gonna be on BET. Nah, it doesn't work like that. If you
Right, right.
independent, it's a long route. Unless you sign it with a distribution company, that's probably a different story. But my thing is, take one day at a time, build it from the ground up, get an LLC, trademark your label, because there's a lot of people be trying to snatch stuff. But also too, be honest with the artist or what you can bring to the table. But also too, the artist got to listen to where you're coming from. So, because some artists they jump too fast, but they end up jumping out the car seat and the body will fly somewhere else. So, you know, and that's why that's the thing too. Anybody that try to be work the label, pay attention. You got to have patience. You got to have patience,
Yeah,
because if you
yeah.
don't, taking a loss.
No, that's a good point. And it's funny, we kind of share the same similarities even in the sports realm because you have a lot of young, players and athletes who don't understand. They rush, they rush, they rush. They don't really work on their craft.
Mhm.
They don't put the work in, they don't put the time in, and it doesn't jive. You have to put the work in if you want to be successful. I don't care if it's in business, if it's in music, if it's in, a sport. And that's the thing that I've watched you do for a few years now. You're constantly working on your brand. I love that about you. You constantly work on your brand. And that's
Absolutely.
something that I wish a lot of people would really gravitate to because they want this thing like it was yesterday, right? So I
Right.
call it microwave society. You don't put the work in, but you want the results.
Yeah, exactly. Don't work like it. Yeah, because every year, man, I'm always thinking of, okay, what would be my next move, my best move? What will get me further? And that's why I never rush into a situation, because people are like, man, Rashad, dude, you should have yourself on BT, this and that. Understand this, people understand BT is like that, like it was back in the 80s and 90s. Those days are over. If I was to have my company on there, eventually that show would got canceled. And they would have been like, oh, what happened to Rashad, this and that. And when you got a lot of different people that's over your company, the bad part about it, I would hate for my brand to lose its essence of what people know me by. You know,
Mm.
I don't about you tell me what I need to do, but I don't need you to tell me something that I've been doing. So you can't bring what I can bring. Yeah, you can put me on TV, but I can take care of the rest. So
Right, right,
and
right.
still, but I'm always improving, man, because when I look back for where I started, several years ago, with September 3rd, 2016 will be the anniversary. But I'm like, man, look how far I came. So, and and the way the internet, evolved and stuff, I get better at. So, okay, like I need to step up on my videos, my pictures, and this and that. So I'm always coming with different ideas to, like you said, improve my brand, man. Yeah.
No, you're doing a great job with that because now you didn't start off in R&B, you started off in hip hop.
Yep.
So speak
So,
speak to that a little bit. What made you make the transition from hip hop to R&B?
you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you, man. Hip hop, man. As much as I love it, but I could tell it was going in a bad direction, because when it got like around 2010, 2011, around that time, it went from being fun, and then it got to the point it got so violent, and you got a lot of these up and coming artists, man. They did represent how hip hop was, and to tell you the truth, I wasn't really benefiting off of anything. Cats didn't want to build together. Uh, the boy, slow down, and then it kind of got to a point where uh when I heard about 6ix9ine and all these other people, I said, you know what, man, I gotta get out of this, man. Because I was losing love for it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love hip hop. I always will. It always be a part of me. And people in this city knows that's where I came from. But I just, I knew that R&B needed my attention. What's so funny? I done had some people that was doing R&B say, "Hey man, can you promote this and that?" And I said, "Man, I ain't got no platform for it. Just strictly hip hop." But I
Gotcha.
felt like R&B needed my attention because at that time there wasn't no platform that was doing what how I'm currently doing. And if you did, I said the only platform that was actually doing something was grown folks music. And shout out to them and stuff. But I didn't see anybody do what I was doing. So I figured that I could take my music history as far as like what I know and bring it to that. And as soon as I did, man, that changed everything, man.
And it did. And it did. And it
Yeah.
has for so many, even artists like my wife and other independent artists that are switched in between independent and major because we've we've enjoyed success on both ends of the spectrum
Mm.
with major distribution and being able to play on that level with the other major artists, but still stay independent and still get the accolades on that level. It's a beautiful thing. But it wouldn't happen without the Rashad Ali's of the world who took the time, and you are a true historian, my sir, who took the
Appreciate
time
it.
to come back and say, you know what, I want to put this person on my platform. I'm going to interview that person. I'm going to put this person, create these charts and let the world and these other, the different fan base understand that you've always said something that I respect about that when it comes to charting. It all counts.
Yes, sir.
It all
Yep.
counts. And for some odd reason, I think we get so caught up and so fixated with, like I said, being plugged in to the major piece, you forget an independent number one hit is still a hit.
Yep.
Somebody heard it, somebody charted it, somebody voted for it. It's still a hit. So
Yep.
I appreciate, and I always tell you, I applaud what you do with R&B Soul Effects TV because it's not just us. You've helped a lot of artists rekindle the love and the joy for this music. And I got to give you your flowers for that. And I want to thank you again for that. We
Yeah,
appreciate you.
appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, man. Because see, my thing was, I even done this back in hip hop. I said this. I say, and the problem too with some artists, they thinking that they get scared to post, what their song is doing. You should never be afraid. My thing is, people laughing even at major stations.
Yeah,
Every day counts. My thing like this, you get a hit if a 3-year old child dancing to your song, say you ain't got to have a big name or not, you got a hit. And the songs that I have charted, over like the last 6 years, and I noticed how the wave changed, for them. Everything counts. Artists should never feel like, oh man, people might say this and that. Dude, come on, man. You gotta do that, because and people don't realize too, like if I'm an artist and somebody was doing what I was doing, I'm gonna add on my website because people don't realize when you add stuff on your website, it opens up doors for you to take your career even further. If you're not
right.
putting all the stuff in your bio, that's a problem. There's a handful of them that's really doing that, man.
No, very true. Very true. I have a few more minutes here. I want to ask you this question because I think it's very pertinent and it's important. What is the greatest lesson that you learned so far on your journey in this music entertainment industry that you can share with the viewers?
Wow, that's a good question. Man, I tell you, I learned so much, and you know what, man, I tell you, one thing I learned is, staying true to, to what I do, to my craft, staying true to me. You don't have to put on a persona to try to be someone who you ain't. And
Mm,
plus, we live in a social media world, man. People get exposed left and right. And I learned, because my thing was I wanted to learn and it evolved. And I'm glad I'm older. If I was that same guy, you see the picture with the braids and all that, I wouldn't have that type of knowledge. That kid, man, it took him all these years to get to this point because it was a journey. Even though it was a headache, but I stuck with it. The older I got, the better I became. So, I'm glad I went through those situations to get to where I am today. So I'm blessed. man, just take it one day at a time. You in this business, you never in a rush, at all, because when you rush it, what's out there, you lose everything.
That's a good point. Before we jump off this thing, Rashad, man, I want to make sure what's next for Rashad Ali. What's next for R&B Soul Effects TV? And I know you can't give it all away because I know you working. You always working, but
Yeah.
share with my people, man. What you got coming up? What you got cooking in those pots?
Okay. Make a long story short, okay, with RB Sulfate TV brand, I'm working on with a certain network I don't want to say, but everybody always watch their channel. Uh, and then I'm doing like a promo stuff. I just did a couple of film stuff and sent it to the company, see if they approve it or not. But behind that, I'm working on RB Sulfate TV Awards. Be on the lookout for that. It's not gonna be called RB Sulfate TV Awards. It's gonna be called Effect Awards or something like that. It's gonna come as time evolves. I'm separated from Star Soul Hall of Fame, and but as far as business Soul Fan Jam FM radio, that's coming. Be on the lookout between May and June. I'm playing some music that nobody don't play on radio. So yeah, man, I got a lot of stuff on my agenda, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, man. Shouts to the fans that been rocking with me. Shouts to you, my brother. You, your wife, man. Let me tell you, man. I mean, of all the people I know, as far as in the industry, in these past couple years of R&B, y'all stand out to me, man. I mean, y'all back on what y'all say, and from what I see, everybody loves y'all spirit. Shouts to everyone, the artists I've known, everything, man. It's a blessing, man. And I thank God for let me make my mark in this business.
Wow, absolutely. And my brother, you are doing that 5 times over, and we are appreciative. We are appreciative of you, and we honor you because without you, people can say whatever they want. Without platforms like yours, and without the hard work and dedication that you and your staff put in, none of this stuff is possible. You can't. My wife says it all the time, and it's so true. You can't do this by yourself. You know what I mean? So we need the Rashad Ali's of the world, the R&B Soul Effects TVs of the world to continue to help, and take artists and put them where they need to be and continue to strive and push this music. So we want to thank you for all your hard work.
Man, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking. I know you're busy, so thank you for taking the time to come
No
on.
problem, man.
And I appreciate you. And during the football season, look here, like I said, I know about the Cardinals. I know about the New York Cardinals.
Oh man,
we gonna get back on so we could have you as a special guest picker. When we do myself and my colleague, my host,
yeah.
Scholar Callahan, man. When we come out and we do the college sports stuff, I'm gonna hit you back up because I'm curious to pick your brain to see what you think about the upcoming season. How about that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Louisville, West Virginia. And your team, man. Man, dude, it's been wars every year, dude.
Oh yeah. So
Say,
I'm gonna get you back on our sports show, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna chop it up during the college football season. How about that?
you got it, brother.
You got it. I appreciate you, my guy. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, man.
No problem, man.
Later.